Hey everybody, how's it going? All you Move, Think, Smile followers. You guys know at Move, Think, Smile, we're all about providing the simplest way possible, about living life the simplest way possible to balance and drastically increase your impact, right? Your energy and your freedom without burning out, right? It's all about balancing six-figure success, without sacrificing your health or your family. Today, we want to talk about something that I think everybody deals with at least one time in their career or having a business, and that's difficult relationships. I mean, think about it. We all encounter difficult relationships. Whether it's a difficult boss, it's crazy colleagues, it's those less than amazing customers, those less than amazing clients, and those people, it's like, wow, okay, cool. There's a transaction, there's a sale made, and now they're just really, really, really just hard to deal with. And it eats at you. And if you caught our last episode where we talk about how a lot of people try to go in and bang their psychology into place and like, I'm going to be happy today, I'm going to be really good today, but it doesn't work. And then it's a slow process where they just start burning out. And that's because their body is literally not producing the fuel that it needs to basically hold those high level emotions. And one of the things that really tells the body that's in a stressful environment is when you're in a difficult relationship. Isn't that right, Elea?
It is. And, I was thinking about today and what we wanted to share. And I just really was, struck by a conversation that we've had with several of our clients about these difficult relationships. And one of the biggest things that we hear time and time again is that people feel unappreciated. They might say like, I have a toxic boss, or my employees aren't doing what they need to be doing. Or, I've told this person time and time again. There were some other things that I shared in the group about, if there was one thing you could change in your work environment to make things better, a lot of people said communication, right? Those difficult relationships. And so these relationships can impact your level of energy and your level of satisfaction and your ability to get better work-life balance. Because if you're having a lot of time, your mental energy and your physical time being eaten up by these conflicted relationships, well, you feel exhausted, right? So let's kind of take a look at the first step, and that is you don't need anyone to appreciate you. Oh, you there, Adam? Oh, you're back.
I believe I am.
You don't need anyone to appreciate you. It is not other people's jobs to appreciate you. It is only your job. If they appreciate you, cool. That's like a bonus, right? It's like the cherry on top. But the biggest thing is we want you to start thinking about how is it that you can appreciate yourself? Because, one thing that we talk a lot about in the book, Move, Think, Smile, BurnOut to Badass, and as Adam so eloquently wrote in this first page, you are your biggest obstacle. That is, how can you start appreciating yourself? So Adam, what do you think is one way that they can start doing this?
This is something that I've always battled, and it's like you hear all these things, just appreciate yourself, love yourself, do all these things. And these are things that everybody wants. And the first step is to realize that, okay, my brain is not in the place that I want it to be. It might be, it might not be in the pits of hell, right? But it might just not be exciting, right? And there's a broad spectrum there of people that I'm talking about, and we know that 80% of the people working more than 40 hours a week are going to fall somewhere in here. It's like, I got a job, it's cool, it pays the bills, it makes good money. But, I really wish I was doing something different, or I really wish I had more time, or I really wish I had more energy, or I really wish I could go to my kids' baseball games or soccer games, or I really wish I could just go on a trip with my friends and go snowboarding, or there's always these ors, right? Mm-hmm. And so what happens is this low grade, and then you've got the relationships at work that just compound on this, and just trying to love yourself, just trying to make yourself feel better, in my opinion, is really, really hard to do from just a pure psychological standpoint. It's really, really tough to do. And this is kind of the whole premise of Move, Think, Smile. And that is, if you want to change your psychology, you got to change your physiology. And we're not talking about going out there and exercising. We're not talking about going out there and doing these things. We're talking about literally what are some of the things you can identify in your external environment, right, that are triggering your body to basically stop the mitochondria from producing as much energy as you could have, because you can't just love yourself without fuel. It's a frequency. Every emotion is a frequency, guys. The high level frequencies, love, acceptance, joy, happiness, all that kind of cool stuff that we all love to have, takes energy. And if you're not producing the energy you need, so one of the things I think, Elea, is first identify, okay, who in my career or business, what relationships are really, basically triggering my defense mechanism, my stress mechanism.
Yep.
I think that's where we need to start. And we're not talking about blaming. We're not talking about that guy Bob or that girl Sue or what's going on. I can't stand my damn boss or any of that kind of stuff. We're talking about, okay, whenever I see this person, I start to feel weird, or I start to feel mad or angry, or I start to just feel low, or my energy gets sucked out like a vampire. The first step is just identifying what's happening. Don't try and change anything. Don't just identify it and then accept it's like, wow, every time I encounter this person or a group of people that are saying these type of things, or like customers, right? Like, oh my gosh, I can tell right away, this is just going to be a dumpster fire. This person's not happy. This is going to be great. I got to keep it all together here, right? Is identify those things. And then once you've done that, it's like, okay, so now we've identified the external source that's basically triggering the stress in your body, the difficult relationship. So do you change the relationship first, or do you change you, Elea?
Yeah, so you change you, right? Exactly as I was saying, stop expecting people to appreciate you, especially those most difficult relationships, right? We kind of walk around going, it's like, oh, I tried to do this for them and I did that and I've done all this and, XYZ, and I don't feel appreciated. And that energy gets you stuck. It gets you off focus. And so one thing that, we share with our clients that we work with is you have got to celebrate those small victories. You have to celebrate those tiny little things that you do every day, because one thing that most people get, stuck in is waiting for this outside, what's the word? Validation, right? That they're doing something good, that they're appreciated. And what we want you guys to do is start thinking about, it's like, what are the little things you can appreciate about yourself? And it's true, Adam, like you said, it's really difficult to kind of just tackle it from simply a mindset perspective. And this is, again, where you need to start identifying exactly who this is, when it starts, be prepared, know this is your trigger, and really be able to move forward. Having work-life balance, balancing the success that you're experiencing in your career, it starts with understanding the relationships that you have with the people around you, because you need to be able to lean on those people. You need to be able to step away. You need to be able to trust those people when you step away and decide to give yourself more freedom. So really tackling these difficult relationships is really one of the most powerful things you can do for taking the next step towards work-life balance.
Right. And it's really about leadership, if you think about it. And if you've ever been in it, whether it's a marriage or at work, or a friend, if you've ever had a difficult relationship, we automatically go towards some type of blame. And blame is the root of all anger. I don't know if you guys know this. So I'm blaming Elea for something she did, or I'm blaming myself for something that I did. And that's guilt. Okay. So first of all, we got to remove the blame. You got to remove, it's like, okay, it happened. This is what happened. This is what they said. I cannot choose what happens to me, but I can choose how I react. And so when that difficult relationship rears its ugly head, what do you do? What do you do? Well, first identify, it's like, okay, I'm about to go into meltdown here, or I'm about to get triggered, or I'm about to whatever it is. And then if you have the ability to just walk away, right? And then that's number one. But sometimes you can't. I mean, sometimes if you're in a conference room for 3 hours with somebody who's just screaming at everybody and chewing everybody's asses off for, the entire afternoon for something not that important. And that happens a lot. That happens a lot. I was like, oh my gosh, we lost that $10,000 sale. Oh, yeah. It's like, okay, dude, there's more people out there. We'll find another one. It's like, let's move on. Let's learn. Let's learn from what we did. How can we make ourselves stronger? But that person doesn't get that. So you've got to lead the way. especially when you can't leave the relationship or it's not in your best interest, or you want the relationship to work and you're just kind of stuck and feeling like, I don't know what I need to do right now. And the best thing you
Yep.
can do is to make sure that you're operating on high octane fuel. Because if you have your body, and I'm not talking about, again, diets and fitness and all this kind of stuff, but if you physically have your stuff together to where it's operating at, the perfect temperature, right? The perfect RPMs, the perfect everything, all of a sudden that think stuff, it becomes so much easier and you don't automatically switch into the, oh my God, this relationship is so difficult. Why won't he shut up? Why do they keep saying these things to me? And it's really interesting that the step to do that is to really, okay, what do I need to do right now to get my energy high? Because if my
Yeah.
energy's high, then it's kind of like having a force field. Like it really is. It's like people will come and scream it and they'll try and beat you all day long, but it's like, I got my force fields up. I'm cool. Do it all. Go for it.
Yeah, it's so very true. I mean, when you're exhausted, that is, when your biggest insecurities pop up, but it's also when people's moods can have the biggest impact on you. And everybody knows that moods, people, emotions, it's contagious. Someone walks in the room and they immediately impact the energy that's in the
Oh yeah.
room.
They suck it out.
By what? Well, depend. They
Well,
might
yeah.
increase the energy or they might suck it out, right? With a difficult relationship, especially if it's someone, for you, there it's going to suck the energy out. So this kind of brings us to our second point, which is that every difficult relationship is there to serve you every single time. And again, this might feel like, oh God, whatever. Yeah, no, this person is driving me crazy. But what's important is you've got to learn to translate the 2% truth about what this relationship is trying to tell you, not the person, the relationship in itself. Because really, you've got three people in this relationship, right? You might have even heard this with couples counseling or with couples therapists. It's like you have this person, and then the third identity is the dynamics that happen within the relationship. And so you've got to be able to translate what's happening there. What is this person here to teach you? And 9 times out of 10, that person is there to teach you, to bring the focus back to you, not to them, but to you. What can I do in this moment? How can I reclaim my time? How can I reclaim my energy? And that's how you start nurturing a work-life balance. You can't give your energy away to every single person that pushes your buttons.
And be careful here because there is a fatal flaw, guys. That is trying to force yourself into what Elea is talking about. What am I trying to learn? What is the 2% truth about this? And if you do that from that state, it's not going to work. This is why therapy and counseling, that classic Socratic method, just doesn't work very well for a lot of people because they want you to force your cognitive, your thought patterns into this kind of mold, and it's not ready to be there yet. Mm-hmm. It's not ready to be there yet. That's like trying to take a Formula One race car and putting it in France, right, on the big race over there without an engine. That's like trying to win a Formula One race in a Formula One car without an engine,
Yeah.
or without any fuel, or worse, you've got a high performance engine, but you don't have any fuel in it. Are you going to get off the starting line? No, you're not. So this is where the whole physiology for psychology move, right? You got to make some bold moves. You got to take some time for yourself. Now, when you're in an environment, especially in a career, it's not always kosher to just like, I'm going to go take an hour for myself right now. If you can do that, cool. Do that.
Yeah.
Do that. Go do something, get your blood flowing, do something to really, really, remove the message of threat that your brain is sending the body, get your mitochondria, it's kind of geek talk, but I'm not kidding, get your mitochondria backfiring again, get that APT, that energy going in your body, and all of a sudden your brain, since it has a surplus of energy beyond just what your heart and your lungs need, your brain's like, oh, now I've got a surplus of fuel. I can do some cool stuff with this thing. I can process this information better. I can figure out how to handle Bob's craziness over here, right? About the stapler. Mm-hmm. I can do this now. I'm able to do this. And now all of a sudden I'm leading the way because I'm not longer reacting to the situation, which reacting always puts you into a negative state. When it comes to work, okay, obviously emergency situations, that's a whole different thing, but reacting to the environment. Now, all of a sudden you're becoming greater than the environment. The environment is no longer controlling you. It's no longer dictating how you feel. And when you do that, It'll take a week or two, but in a very short period of time, those people will still complain, but they will slowly start to mellow. And they'll realize that you're not feeding their unhappiness. You're not feeding their negativity because they need fuel to feed that. And you, because negative fuel, it goes two ways, right? That's how that stuff works. But so does the good stuff, the high octane stuff. Does that make sense, Elea?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest, like, just to give an example of what the 2% truth might be, it might be something like, taking a look at this difficult relationship within your workspace and realizing that the 2% truth is that you've been giving it too much attention, right? Just like you said, I've been giving this too much attention, because one thing that can happen is in those difficult relationships, we can get so wrapped up in proving ourselves right or proving them wrong or trying to get them to see the other side or XYZ that we lose focus on what's really important and what we need to be doing to get things done so that we can open up more space and more time.
Yes, exactly.
From our studies and what we've seen is that most professionals, busy, successful, six-figure professionals, they are losing anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a day to poor productivity. And I can tell you that a good chunk of that time lost is probably in difficult relationships. Thinking about it, having unuseful conversations, struggling with decisions after having a difficult conversation. And so it's really about making sure that you are, as you say, streamlining, making your fuel really powerful and good. And part of that is understanding when to step away, when to stop engaging, when to stop giving your energy to difficult relationships. And, that's one thing that we tackled right off the bat in the first chapter of this book was a difficult relationship. It was one of the straws that broke the camel's back in burnout. Right? So this is a really powerful thing. This is something that each and every one of our clients talk about as far as their ability to, increase their income and have more freedom. A lot of people feel restricted by some difficult relationship in their workspace. They feel like they could make, more sales, more income, make more progress if they could just get this one relationship tackled.
And if you don't do this, here's what happens. And I know because it happened to me over and over and over again. I always have, for the longest time, for like 15, 20 years, there's always somebody that was trying to take me down. I could not escape. Even when I would go, to Sunday dinner with the family, right? This person was in my mind. I would go to bed thinking about this person. I would wake up thinking about this person, all this crap and all this stuff going on. I would go out surfing. I'd go kiteboarding. I would go running. Whatever I would do, all by enjoy. I would ride my motorcycle. And this person there's always, and when that got rid of that person, within, no kidding, a week or two, there was another person in there. And it just sucked so much of my energy away. And it sucked so much of my time away. And looking back out of it, I mean, if your time, for most professionals out there, they're making about $100 an hour. Most people, if you're spending 3 hours a day, losing 3 hours a day, right? Battling this stuff and trying to keep it out of your head and just not being as productive as you should be. And then of course you get home and then you're feeling tired. Your energy's not where it is. You're not having the impact you want. They're not starting this big butterfly effect, right? It goes around and around and around and around. The next thing you know, you're just like, why don't I have more balance in that whole work-life equation?
Yeah. Yeah. And this really brings us to the third piece, which is when you're in these, moments of these difficult relationships, is you have to find the comedy in this. Find the comedy in the relationship. And Adam, as you were just describing, like, it feels like chaos. It feels like insanity. It sort of reminds me of, those old classic cartoons or the Road Runner or the things that are it's insane, right? You start to look back at it and you think about it and you think about the interactions that are happening with this person. And really, it's quite comical. And if you can start to look at it from a perspective of comedy, you're going to release the hypnotizing effects that this relationship is having on draining your energy. Because what happens is when you start smiling, when you start thinking about this from a different way, a comedic way, you are going to actually utilize the chemical factory that is your body to shift your energy. And Adam, you can speak to the more scientific perspective.
Yeah. Well, first I'm just laughing because I remember when we when we got out of a very, very difficult business relationship. I was super duper stressful. It burned us out completely. It was over. It was all done. And I was still latching onto it. And one of the things that Ellie and I started doing is we started doing Spartan races. Those big, crazy mud run obstacle courses. But we were doing the Beast, right? That's 13.2 miles on the side of a mountain. Like, it's no joke. We were halfway through this thing. It's my first one I'd ever done. I am not in the shape to be doing it at the time. And I'm basically my body's about to die. That's what it feels like. I'm tired. I'm cold. My hands aren't working. I can't get over this wall. And all I could think about was this relationship. It was just like, it's like, well, but this right over here, remember what they did to you? And remember how much they suck, and remember all this kind of stuff. And it was just like, oh my God. And I look at it now and I'm just like, I was basically in a do or die environment, right? Physically, mentally. And I was like stuck on this thing. And that's what happens. That's what sucks that out of you. And that's what it leads to burnout. And burnout a lot of people think burnout is an endpoint when actually it's a slow process of degradation.
Yep.
It's a slow process there. And from a physical standpoint, what happens is when your brain is sending a message to your body that you are in a threatening environment, that you are in a stressful environment, the body is a very smart computer, but it's not that smart. Okay. It just knows we are in a bad place. We are in a threatening environment. There's some stuff going on. We need to defend the body. So what do we do? Well, usually when we're under attack by a virus or a bacteria, it's called the cell danger response, we shut down the mitochondria so they can't eat our food, right? So we don't fuel them. We starve them out. That's a natural defense mechanism, but it also gets triggered under mental stress.
Yep.
Especially difficult relationships. And so you've got to, before you try to stop that message, right, from the body, that's where most people go. They go right to, I'm going to stop this message of threat. I'm going to change my psychology. I'm going to pound myself into submission, or I'm going to pound myself into positivity. I'm going to pound myself into this better relationship. And it doesn't work very well, if at all. And that's because they've got to learn how to get the energy flowing literally from every cell in their body, the trillions of cells in their body. So there's a surplus of energy, and the brain can then do its thing. That's why it's called move, think, smile, not anything else.
Yeah. And let's talk about that a little bit. Let's just give it a few seconds of, what is move, think, smile, and really why is it so important for the simple, easy way to get the work-life balance that you crave. And, I want to reiterate this again, is that people that are having a lot of success, a lot of times, associate those feelings of burnout or not having work-life balance as with people that don't enjoy their work. But we're talking about people who love their work and their work loves them too much, right? And work always comes first. And next thing you know, you're starting to have, these ripple effects out into your life because you have zero work-life balance. So Move, Think, Smile is really just a simple way to get the balance back. So give us just the super short version of how to move, think, smile.
Yeah, it's super simple, guys. Move. Identify the external things in your environment that are triggering your body to literally shut the power plants down. Boom. Once you get your energy back online, go into the head. Then start working on a psychology. Start thinking differently. Identify what's going on up there that are sending messages of threat into the body internally that are causing the power plants, the energy to stop production. Right?
Yep.
1, 2. Then learn how to show up as a complete badass leader, charging the way, and you're smiling more, you're having more impact, right? Drastically more impact because you've taken care of you first. It's that whole, you're on an airplane, oxygen masking. The mask drops down, put your mask on. You can't help anybody else if you don't have your mask on, right? But we don't do that. We don't do that. We go out there as these real admirable people, and it makes sense. It's like, everybody hears, it takes hard work, it takes hard work, it takes hard work. But here's the definition. Hard work means it's hard work if the inputs are greater than the outputs. If you're working just as much as you now, but now all of a sudden you've got better health, you've got better energy, you've got better relationships, you've got more freedom, you've got more time, you've got more income. Is it still hard work when the outputs are greater than the inputs? No, it's not hard work anymore. It's not hard work anymore. And so guys, we want to kind of just, offer, there's a couple things you can do, if you really want to learn how to navigate difficult relationships, if you really want to inject a motherload of balance into that work-life equation, if you really want a simple way to drastically increase your impact, your energy, your freedom, and your income, then you've got a couple options. The first is, Elea, hold it up so everybody can see it. You can go get this giant whopping 5-pound, 415-page workbook. We wrote it. It's completely amazing. It will tell you exactly what to do. It will take you probably a long time to get through it. And if you're a hardcore professional and you like to wait 6 months to see change, go get the book. Do it. Or if you can, I don't think you're going to be able to knock that one out in a weekend. It's more of a workbook than it is a novel or a story or feel-good stories. It's how to do this. Or if you're like me and Elea and you're like, you know what, I am ready to really get some more life in that whole work-life thing, really get some more energy, really increase my impact, really do all of that kind of stuff, come on over to movethinksmile.com/talk. You'll speak to either the author, Elea Faucheron, right? She's the founder of Move Think Smile, or myself, the co-founder of Move Think Smile. I did write the foreword in the first page. And she's right. You are your greatest obstacle, and embracing that is the first step you need to take. And if you come over, schedule a call to talk with us, we will kind of dive in. Okay, what's causing the imbalance in work life? What's causing the drain of energy? What's going on there? What's difficult? What are the obstacles that are blocking your growth, that are blocking you from really enjoying your success? Because there's so many people where their life looks great on paper, but deep down, they're not really that enjoying it. It's not what they really thought they're going to be. And the reality is people, I think it's 40% of people working more than 40 hours a week end up having to retire early because the balancing doesn't get adjusted and they're forced to retire due to health problems. Ooh,
yeah.
That's a big number.
And I think, I think especially for when you start reaching close to your 40s, you start realizing that your drive for work, you love it, but you also realize that it's having some pretty big ramifications. And not only that, you don't bounce back as fast as you used to. And you're starting to realize that life is short and you do want to have a successful career. You want to keep it. In fact, you're so overdriven that you want to keep, maxing out your ability to increase your income, but you also want to be able to step back a little bit. Right. And that's where we come in. That's where we really help you understand, how do I increase my energy, increase my free time without having to, give up any success that I have in work. In fact, how do I actually increase my income while I work less?
And the cool thing is, on top of that, we talk about 40% are forced to retire early, 35% then make it to retirement, but don't have the health and the energy they need to do what they wanted to do when they hit retirement. That's 3 out of 4 people, everyone. That's one away from everyone who gets to retirement and is not going to be able to do the things they do. So guys, if you're looking to increase your energy, and maybe just include some side effects like, maybe my health is going to get better. Maybe all those health problems I were dealing with, well, maybe they were being caused by what was going on up here, which was causing me to do things in my external environment to throw off my diet, the food, the exercise, and all that kind of stuff. Come on over to movethinksmile.com/talk, book a time on our calendar, and we will chat soon. See everybody. Take care.
All right. Take care.